Balaji Subramanian, Telecom Analyst with IIFL Securities, joins us now. Balaji, good morning. Let's first understand the implications of the entire AGR issue specifically for the sector, and then we'll get into specifics after that.
Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show. My reading of the entire AGR situation is that, of course, it was something at least which the street was expecting to have a favorable outcome on. And that would have been positive, especially for Vodafone Idea and by extension to Indus. And for Bharti, it would have been a small positive if the relief had come through. Now, with the relief not coming through, I think these companies will not see a reduction in their AGR burden. And when I say these companies, I refer to Vodafone Idea and Bharti. And that would mean that at least, they will have to pay these liabilities over a point in time, over a period of time. Now the thing is, what happens as far as Vodafone's debt raise is concerned, because if you see, Vodafone was the positivity around Vodafone was one through the fundraise that they are in the process of completing. They would have been able to invest 50 to 55,000 crores on their network in the next 3 years, and that would result in their subscriber loss coming off and their ARPU also going up because their 2G subscribers would be able to upgrade to 4G and stay back on the network. The second element was on the tariff hikes, which at least while two or three rounds of tariff hikes were expected, things have been going as per plan based on the tariff hike of around 15-20% that we saw in July this year. And the third hope was the AGR relief coming through. Now, it looks very remote that there can be any relief with the Supreme Court turning down the curative petition. So my sense is that if Vodafone Idea is able to complete its debt fund raising, then the capex program should be on track, and that means that Vodafone Idea should still be able to ensure that over the next few months the subscriber loss is arrested. So I would think that the debt fund raising will hold key.
Over the weekend, they've announced a capex tie-up with 3 global majors. It clearly means the management is confident of rolling out the capex plan. The management will only roll out a capex plan when they think that they are in a position to service their debt or fund the capex plan. Can I look at it positively?
Obviously, yeah. So that is indeed a positive development because as you rightly said, tying in funds is very critical in terms of ensuring that the capex plan goes through. And there were a few articles also which said that the plan that they had submitted to the bankers around their debt fund raising, those plans did not factor in any AGR relief in the base case. So, of course, this is not something which the company has publicly said. So we don't know. This is all based on media reports. So if that were to be true, then I think it is clearly a positive because at least, from a lending perspective, the AGR relief would have come as a cherry on the cake, if it had come through. But even if it hadn't come through, which is what has now turned out to be, that would help, that would help the company to still raise the debt funds and go ahead with the capex plan. So, to that extent, it is a clear positive that they have gone ahead and signed these deals over the weekend.
What are the chances that the government can convert their entire remaining debt into equity? I mean, that entire AGR due can easily get converted into equity.
So right now, the relief or the reform package, which was approved by the cabinet in 2021, it lets the principal part of the dues during the moratorium to be converted into equity. But considering how firm the government has been and vocal the government has been in terms of ensuring that we have a three-player market, I wouldn't be surprised if the government in future expands the scope of the dues that can be converted into equity. So I would expect a higher proportion of the debt to be converted into equity going forward. Now that we don't have the AGR relief coming through, so that is also a potential relief possibility that the government can come up with. So when I say relief, that will ensure that the survival prospects of Vodafone Idea in future don't get impacted. But of course, a higher extent of equity conversion will also mean that the dilution for the existing shareholders will be higher. So that is one possibility that the government can always explore. And the other possibility is to extend the moratorium period. So right now the moratorium on the AGR and spectrum payments will be the moratorium will end on September 30th, 2025. And if the government is extending that to a later point in time, that will also mean that Vodafone Idea gets some cash flow relief. But of course, the operative word here is the cash flow relief, because since the liability is not going to reduce, that will also mean that the payouts will be higher at a later point in time.
Just wanted to know what the outlook is now with this deal, mega deal that Vodafone has inked, what it means for some of the other players in terms of what the pecking order could be for Jio, Bharti, Airtel and Vodafone.
So if the capex program of Vodafone Idea goes on uninterrupted as the management was expecting, I would think that the biggest relief will be for Indus Towers, because Indus Towers will be a direct beneficiary of Vodafone Idea's network rollout. So it is a clear positive for Indus Towers. As far as the other telcos are concerned, it will still be business as usual. So before the AGR verdict had come in, they were still expected to continue gaining share, revenue market share, but at a lower extent as to what they were gaining in the last 3-4 years. I think that will still continue. And now the key thing to watch out for is, what is the extent of tariff increases in the next 18 to 24 months. I think the street is clearly building in another round of 15-20% tariff increase in the next 12 months or 18 months. And if there were to be another round of tariff increase after that, which is what increasingly the market seems to be factoring in, going by how the Airtel and Hexacom stocks have performed, then I think there can still be some upside. So I think the performance of Bharti, Airtel and Hexacom would depend on whether there is a third round of tariff hike in the next 24 months or so.
All right, that's interesting. Thanks so much for sharing with us your thoughts on all that's going on in the telecom space and, of course, the latest news that has come in.